Stephanie Smith here. This is my first Bricks from Bed live stream. I should probably explain what that means. When I was feeling really sick with my autoimmune disease, I have a chronic illness that has periods of flares and remissions. I found that it was really frustrating for me to not be able to engage in events and go hang out with people and get involved in my community in the ways that were really important to me. And so I thought that this could maybe be an opportunity for people who might like to ask me questions or go to events. They would be able to do so from the comfort of their home. Same for me. I actually love being at home on Sunday nights and being lazy. It's good to have those periods of rest. So yeah, this is really just an attempt for people who might have kids and can't arrange childcare, or they might have a disability, or maybe they have social anxiety. Anybody who really can't get out and come to events, this is your chance to kind of engage with me. There is a form on my website, stephanie2020.com, and that's Stephanie with an F. That's important to remember. You can go and submit questions there. You can do so anonymously if you'd like. And every week I'm going to come back and host a live stream where I answer the questions. I wanted to give you a few updates. We are going to be doing a weekly newsletter. I'm hoping that it'll come out on Wednesdays. This past week we did it on Monday, but I think it's better on Wednesdays. And you can sign up for that at stephanie.substack.com. Again, that's Stephanie with an F. There's also a link to it on Facebook, and I think we'll have a link to it on the website as well. Another update, the web store is up. We have signed copies of the Working It zine that contains an interview with me, as well as lots of other stuff. Supports the harm reduction organization Stroll out of Portland, Oregon, a favorite harm reduction organization of mine. It was released as part of the 5th annual Sex Workers Art Show. So really honored to have a piece in that. And also our first issue zine is out, and it's on Sesta Fosta, because I know a lot of people don't know much about that. So you can check out the zines. They're available in the store. There is also, on my issues page, we're going to fill out each issue with its own zine. So you can go right now, the Sesta Fosta one is up, and you can actually download the zine, a PDF of it for free as well, if you don't want to buy it in the store. And we're going to go through each and every issue and make a zine for all of them, because I'm all about education, outreach, transparency, and really trying to bring more people in and educate them on the issues that are really affecting us. One of the things that I want to talk about this week, the cuts to SNAP, to food stamps, is really upsetting. It's really devastating. We are a very impoverished district. Lots of people are food insecure. And I know that things can feel really hopeless when stuff like this happens. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some mutual aid ideas this is Callista, by the way. Some mutual aid ideas that might be able to help. Just for example, if you're grocery shopping and you have maybe $5 or $10 extra, go ahead, pardon me, Callista. Go ahead and buy some extra shelf-stable things. Buy extra canned goods. Take them to a food pantry. Or if you have friends that you know are hungry, if you're going to the grocery store, just be like, hey, can I pick you up like some staples, $10 worth of stuff? Is there anything you need? That sort of a thing. Another really important thing, especially when the weather is this bad, is making sure that our friends and neighbors who don't have reliable transportation are able to make it to food pantries and grocery stores. Another thing that you can do is post on Facebook and social media the numbers and hours of local food pantries, and that can kind of help offset some of the nastiness that's happening. It won't change the world, but it might help feed somebody, which would be good. So, some questions. I got a general ask about my stance on environmental issues, and I am really, really into the environment. Like, I love having clean air and clean water, and I love having natural spaces. I get really angry when I see lawns because there's not really a point to them, that sort of a thing. So I support policy like the Green New Deal. I support banning fracking. There is a movement right now. You can sign a petition to ban fracking in Illinois. I linked to that in my newsletter this past week. And the newsletter archive is public, so you can actually go to stephanie.substack.com and see the old newsletter and follow those links. When it comes to environment, I think it's really, really important that we center environmental racism in the conversation as well. People who live in low-income areas tend to live in higher polluted areas. They tend to suffer more medical issues. They have higher health costs. There are a lot of really nasty things that go along with environmental racism. And so I think that it's really important that we talk about those issues and we work on those. Here in Champaign-Urbana, there are a lot of people organizing around Fifth and Hill. Fifth and Hill Neighborhood Rights Campaign. You should go ahead and look that up and get involved if you're looking to make an impact locally. I highly recommend it. Callista. Let's see. Another question I got. Since being aware of your campaign, I've always admired your slogan, "Death to Apathy." But what does that mean to you personally? And what do you want people to take away from that slogan? Death to apathy, not the planet, is really kind of how I'm trying to live my life, right? Is that I'm trying to maintain a big heart and do the work that we need to do to help each other and survive, right? So death to apathy means rejecting despair. It means rejecting hopelessness. It means when people tell you that you can't, that you're idealistic, that you're dreaming too big, you tell them no. No, like it's only impossible until somebody does it, right? That's what death to apathy, not the planet, means to me, is that if we all care enough and we work hard enough, that we can actually get done what needs to happen for us to have the world that we want. Another question I got is, what is the number one policy that you don't think people are talking enough about that could change people's lives in this country? I really like this question. So the Public Homes Green New Deal was recently released, but before that, I had actually endorsed the Homes Guarantee by People's Action, and I have some notes on that because I was going to do a zine on housing really soon. So the Homes Guarantee by People's Action sets out to build 12 million social housing units and eradicate homelessness. It calls to reinvest in existing public housing. It protects renters and bank tenants. Bank tenants are basically people who owe more on their house than it's worth. There is also reparations for centuries of racist housing policies included. There is the goal to end land and real estate speculation and decommodify housing. And also at least 600,000 permanent supportive housing units using the Housing First model to address chronic homelessness. My background in working with homelessness and being homeless myself, I really, really appreciate that sort of inclusion. By 2050, residential efficiency upgrades could reduce 550 million metric tons of carbon emissions per year, the equivalent to the combined 2016 emissions of all power plants in California, Texas, New York, Florida, and Virginia. I also learned that homes are responsible for over 15% of U.S. greenhouse gas emissions. Another excellent aspect of this is that it turns every public housing complex into a community resiliency center. I think about this a lot, having grown up in a trailer park. As we have heavier storms, I don't know how many people have actually been in a trailer during heavy thunderstorms or tornado watches, but it's terrifying, right? Like it sounds almost like bullets, like rain and hail on the aluminum, I think it's aluminum siding and on the roof. And these places are not safe in storms. And so ensuring that when we have like mobile home communities and that sort of thing, that there are actually places for people to go when there are disasters within that community is really, really important. So that's part of the reason that I'm really excited about this particular policy. Another aspect of it is that low-income households often pay about 25% more for utilities because they have poor insulation and older appliances. So this policy actually calls for an upgrade to insulation and appliances. So it not only helps in the immediate sense in terms of rent burden and that sort of a thing, but also in terms of going forward and the sort of bills that people incur every month are going to be lower, which means that we're creating a more sustainable long-term living situation. And yeah, so that's the Homes Guarantee. It's put out by People's Action, and I am going to be doing a zine on housing really, really soon, but I can actually put a link to the entire policy on Facebook. I really, really recommend that everybody read policy, engage in it. You know, if I talk about certain policy here, feel free to read it and then send me questions about it. A lot of this stuff is written in an elevated language. A lot of it contains a lot of statistics and research that can be kind of intimidating. So I really want you to think of this as an opportunity to just ask questions, like in that anything that concerns you matters. And so it matters to me. So I want to hear what your thoughts are. And if something isn't clear or you disagree with something, I want to know that too, so that we can work on things together. I'm still getting my sea legs a lot with the high level of socializing and engaging that campaigning requires. We've got a lot of exciting stuff planned, but it all feels really, really overwhelming. It's so far, it's been really, really exciting. We got on the ballot, and that was incredible. And we did so with the help of so many amazing people canvassing. And I see that some of those amazing people are watching right now, and God, that makes me so happy. Thank you so much. We could not have done this without everyone's hard work. It's so true that this campaign is really, really just a bunch of people coming together to work on this together and help each other out. Especially as a grassroots campaign, we don't have like corporate funding. Like, we're scrappy, we're rough and tumble, but it's working. It's working so well that a bunch of really scary people looked at our signatures and figured out they couldn't even challenge them. So we're that awesome. So thank you all so much for that. I'm trying to think. Oh, there's one more question. What is the most Central Illinois thing you've ever done? And I thought about it for a second. This one came in really late, and so I didn't have time to think about it too much before the live stream. My first job was when I was 12, and it was detasseling corn. And that feels like a very Central Illinois thing. Really lots of things involving corn, right? Like running through corn mazes, that's a thing. Mudding also happens in cornfields when there's no corn to hide in. What other Central Illinois things are there to do? Actually, I want to know, like, what are Central Illinois things to do, right? Like, I go to the county fair, state fair. I haven't done that in years, but I have been. That's a Central Illinois thing to do. I definitely had, like, one of those mirrors that had, like, probably Guns N' Roses painted on it, like the logo. That feels like a very Central Illinois thing. I'm going to go with detasseling. Detasseling is my first job. That's the most Central Illinois thing I've ever done. Okay. Well, I really, really appreciate you all watching, and I'm open to feedback. This is new territory for me. I'm not usually particularly comfortable just kind of talking like this, so any feedback is appreciated. I really, really, really appreciate you all so much and all of the work that you have done for the campaign and all of the questions being submitted, everything. I'm so overwhelmed with all of the support that we have gotten so far, and thank you so much to everybody. So again, Stephanie2020.com is the website. That's Stephanie with an F. You can sign up for the newsletter at stephanie.substack.com. That's SUBSTACK. Yeah, and feel free to submit more questions, and I will see you again next week, if not sooner. Thank you.